Hi everyone, delonewolf here and welcome back to EVE Online. So as you can see, I am mining a little bit in the nice new lens flare effects for the sun, and that means that we are going to check out a dev blog, and honestly it's a pretty important one. It deals with the Crius release, with the industry changes, but more specifically star-based changes for Crius. And yeah, with the changes to industry, honestly, this is going to be a pretty important one. So let's start. First of all, they're changing the reprocessing arrays a little bit. We are revamping star-based reprocessing arrays for Crius. These will now provide much better reprocessing abilities. Below are their exact attributes, so you can check that out. The most important part is player reprocessing skills will be taken into account. Reprocessing time is instant, no more waiting 1 hour or even 10 seconds for the outcome of minerals. We already saw that on the test server. Or ice and gas clouds may now be mixed together at the same time inside the structures, but modules cannot be moved inside the reprocessing array. So it's really only for stuff that you mine, but you can fill your reprocessing array with ice and with ores, and then just select everything, right click, reprocess, and you'll get the reprocessed materials right away. This will probably become one of the most efficient ways of reprocessing stuff, except for outposts in nullsec that will be able to have even better yields than what you get from a starbase or a POS. So here they explain reprocessing is simply a right click, and after that you get the reprocessed materials. Something that's also changing is that the ores you mine will now be reprocessable in batches of 100 units. So that definitely makes it a little bit easier to do all of the calculations and to get stuff straight. And keep in mind that all the yields and everything have been adapted to these new batches of 100 units being the base for pretty much everything. Because the next one is the compression array, which will work with the exact same 100 unit base amount that you need in order to reprocess, in order to compress into a single unit of the compressed ore. For example, I have 100 units of feldspar in the compression array with a total volume of 10 cubic meters. After compressing them, I will receive 1 unit of compressed feldspar with a volume of 0.15 cubic meters. This may be displayed as 0.2 in the client due to how rounding works. So yeah, this is going to become the most efficient way of moving minerals or moving ore, but it's by compressing them, and thus you get the smallest volume for the amount of minerals. And again, this will be done in batches of 100 units, and there will be 2 different types, I think. Where was that? Again, it's just a right click and it's instant. And let me have a quick look here. There were 2 types of these. Let me see if I can find it. There is a normal compression array that you will be able to use in HiSec, and there will also be something like an advanced compression array. Not really sure what the advantage of that was, or was it the refining arrays? Yeah, that's it. The compression array is the one there, and then is it the reprocessing array? Let me see. I read this, but yeah, here we go. The intensive reprocessing array may only be used in low security solar systems and below. And so that one will have a slightly better yield than the normal reprocessing array. And then the compression array, you can also use that in HiSec once Crius hits. So yeah, that's going to be a very important change to reprocessing and to compression. That's already going to yeah, have a serious impact on the mineral market and how big alliances deal with their need for minerals in order to produce stuff. But after that, slots are being removed. We already know this, and this is going to be replaced with the tax scaling, so you get some sort of yeah, taxing and pricing depending on how much manufacturing is being done in the same system as you are doing yours. Remote usage station changes. Another drastic change is that blueprints safely stored in regular stations can no longer be used for jobs in star-based structures. I think this is pretty much normal. It's not really normal that you can have all the advantages of a POS and you don't need to risk any of your blueprint originals or anything like that. So I think this is an understandable and normal change. Structure cost scaling. Removing slots from industry jobs discourage players from stacking more than one star-based structure of the same type at a control tower. To counteract this point, we are going to give specific bonuses when star-based structures of the same type are stacked together on the same control tower. This bonus is going to be a flat reduction of the whole job cost price, so the ISK you need to install it, whose amount and total bonus varies depending on the star-based structure itself. And now this one I think is a pretty dangerous one. So let's say that you want to build medium ships, then you can get up to a 26% bonus in job cost, but that requires you to place 13 medium ship assembly arrays, or any combination of the three you're seeing here: medium ship assembly array, advanced medium ship assembly array, or subsystem assembly array. And so this is obviously a pretty big advantage to large alliances that have large bosses with a lot of manufacturing capabilities. The one worry that I have about this is that apparently it's not clear yet if, for instance, you can online 13 medium ship assembly arrays, start a job in one of them, get a 20% reduction in the price to start a job. After that, offline the assembly arrays and maybe even unanchor the assembly arrays and still keep that bonus. Now, the CCP responses so far have been a little bit dismissive, you know, that they don't think that that's going to be such a big deal. But honestly, I think people are going to do this. People are extremely risk averse, and there is one saying that CCP once used, I think it was during a CSM or something, that they found out that no matter how boring or click or time intensive or whatever a certain aspect of the game, a certain activity in the game is, if it's the most efficient way of doing something, players will do it this way. And yeah, so keep this in mind, you know, if you allow people to just have 13 medium ship assembly arrays in a POS at one time, get the best bonus, and then remove 12 of them, they are going to do this, and they are going to take advantage of this loophole. So I think it's something that CCP does need to address and does need to fix. I can understand getting a bonus for risking 13 medium ship assembly arrays in a single POS, that you get a reward for that is normal, but you need to accept that the risk has to be there during the entire duration of the jobs that you're sitting there. You cannot place them there for like 10-15 minutes, whatever however long it takes for you to get all of them online there, grab the bonus, and then put them all away. I think that is actually something that CCP does need to address, and it's my big worry with this system. This of course also changes how we are going to have to look at our POS, because this is not an insignificant reward for adding multiple arrays of the same type, something like 2% on medium ships. You know, it's definitely not an insignificant change. It's something we need to calculate, and it's the first time that I see this. So this is pretty important, and yeah, we need to keep a close eye on how all of this is going to work, because this does punish small players a little bit, small corporations that cannot fill large POSes and cannot have that many assembly arrays in a single POS. So it's an interesting mechanic. If it's not abusable, I have no real problem with it, but so far it does look like onlining, unanchoring, there are some shenanigans possible there to game the system, and I think CCP, from what I've read in the comments so far, might be underestimating the impact of allowing this. Obviously the restrictions on star-based anchoring will be removed, so you can also anchor star bases. And does that mean that I'm no longer mining? Yes, it does. So you no longer need the standings to online a POS in HiSec, and you can also online a POS in 0.8 systems and above, except for some restrictions. You won't be able to put up a POS in Jita, for instance, I think. Time restrictions on anchoring control towers, 7 days for a new corporation. It is to inhibit players from immediately moving star-based assets to another corporation if under a war declaration. Honestly, they already have alt corporations ready, so that's not really going to work, but okay, I understand that for some newer players this might counter some of the war deck dodging a little bit, but honestly, overall, it just means that they have to create a corporation for their alts. So yeah, that's going to miss the mark by quite a large margin, I think. Improving the mobile laboratories next, so all of them get renamed a little bit. You get the mobile laboratory, which becomes a research laboratory. Advanced mobile lab becomes a design laboratory for copying, and then the I can't really. That name is impossible to pronounce, but it's keeping the same name except for the mobile part. These get their specific bonuses, so the first and the last one get like a multiplier to ME and time efficiency research and material research, whereas the design laboratory gets a nice bonus to the copying time. So that's pretty good. Overall, you know, you have some use for all of them. And then, yeah, all assembly arrays receive a 2% material reduction to manufacturing products except for drugs. A couple of them, assembly arrays, will keep their 25% time reduction. All of this is basically to try and balance the new industry changes with how it is at the moment. Capital assembly arrays is being renamed to super capital. Okay, that's none of that I feel is really super impactful. It's more along the lines of trying to balance everything, to not really throw the economy off too much. The hangars get a bit of a boost in how much they can carry. Material discount changes. We are modifying how material efficiency reduction works on materials. Instead of being applied on individual runs, they will now apply to a whole job. That means that manufacturing a large batch of items will still give some reduction on assembly arrays instead of being simply negated. Not really sure what that means. I'd need to take a look at all of the math for that. And then there are new rounding rules, so they do get rid of the extra materials, but now they have to deal with rounding, so that is going to be a little bit annoying. But something like 14.4 tritanium in a calculation is going to end up becoming 15 tritanium. For whole items, whole and single items will not be affected by this calculation. This is most relevant for Tech 1 items required to manufacture Tech 2 variants. For example, building 10 paladins will not require 9 apocalypses if you have 10% ME. Interesting. Lastly, there's also something called a Tucker component assembly array that is going to have a 10% reduction in manufacturing required materials, may only be anchored in low security systems, and it may only be used to build capital construction components and advanced capital construction components. So this is to give low sec capital and super capital construction a little bit of a boost there as well. Then there are some skill changes, but I don't think these are too drastic or weird. And am I still mining? It looks like I'm still mining. So we are changing the star-based defense management skill to only require anchoring 4 instead of 5 in order to ease entry to access into star-based manual control. So that is going to be a little bit helpful, I think. And then the supply chain management and scientific networking skills are also receiving some small changes. Currently you need level 1 to be able to either start manufacturing or science jobs in the solar system the blueprint is in. With each subsequent level increases by 5 jumps. With level 5 giving you full regional control, we are modifying those so that the starting local jobs in the same solar system doesn't require the skill, while each level increases the distance by 5 jumps and total distance of 25 jumps. This reduces dependency on region boundaries, which may actually be closer than 25 jumps in some cases. So it's going to just be 25 jumps away. If you have the skill at 5, you'll be able to remotely start the job even if it's in another region. So that's kind of interesting as well, but I think pretty low impact. Removal of star-based assembly line, they get like a bonus instead of the assembly line. So yeah, overall, yeah, the asteroids are just getting depleted here. So maybe I'll just quickly do a couple more while I give my final thoughts on this dev blog. It's a pretty complex one. It's very complex stuff that is getting changed here. It's really the backbone of the EVE economy. The whole industry changes. It's going to have a huge impact. I do think that researching and building from star bases is going to become pretty much the most efficient way of doing it. But it's going to take a substantial change in how people do their industry. It's also, I think, going to entail quite a bit more risk than what we have before, especially this change of stacking more of the same type of array, giving you an extra bonus to the cost of setting up your job. I think is not to be underestimated, both on the risk side, if you actually have to keep the arrays online inside a POS for the duration of the job. This is going to mean a lot more risk for people that want to take full advantage of this possibility. So I do hope that CCP is going to look in offline and anchoring shenanigans to still take advantage of this bonus, because that would completely negate what they're trying to do here. But overall, I'm not really positive or negative either way. I need to see it happening in the actual EVE economy before I can give my opinion on that. It's really going to be a hindsight thing. I'm sure there's going to be stuff that everyone is missing at the moment, but I do think it's going to be very interesting. It's an interesting time to play EVE Online, with some serious changes coming to industry. And yeah, it's just going to be a very interesting ride, I think. Anyways, that's it for this devblog, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you all next time.